Welcome back to my channel. I've made a few videos about how to use Claude Code as well as how to use Codex CLI for a few different use cases. And today I'm going to walk you through how to set up your own project management workflow with either Claude Code or Codex. So I'll include a link to the setup for the terminal as well as Claude Code and Codex. Previously, I went through a workflow of how to search for jobs in a faster way. And now I'll show you what I do for both work and personal, as well as actually for any content or coding project that I have. I'll use Obsidian, which if you haven't heard of before, it's just a application for you to manage your documents in Markdown format. So the first thing I'll do here is I'll download Obsidian. You might already have it downloaded, and I actually haven't used it much until AI got really good at managing Markdown files. So I'll download it, I'll install it and run it. You can create a new vault, or you can open a folder as a vault. So I'll do both. I'll first create a new vault. Let's call this personal. Let's choose the projects folder. And so now I have a new vault. And then I can look at my Markdown formats from there, use it as a notes app as well. But the first thing that I'll set up is an extension. So I'll go in and go to community plugins and turn on a community plugin. There are quite a few, but the one that I use the most is probably this kanban one. So I'll install it, enable it, and then I'll show you how I use it. I haven't figured out how to set it once and apply to all my vaults. So if you know how to do that, let me know. But now that I've set that up, I can now use this app to work with Claude Code or Codex. So first, I'm going to exit this out. So here, I'm going to be in the terminal, and I'm going to do ls, which just lists the basically folders that I have. And so I'll list into projects, and then I go to personal, and then I'll have this welcome MD file here, and then I'll go into Claude Code, and this is where a Claude project file might make sense for you to start working with, which is every time you start a Claude Code session, it's just rules that Claude Code will follow each time you open it. It'll read it first before it does anything else. And so for this, I'm going to ask it to add this to it. First let's create it. Create a Claude project file with this, and then create a kanban board. And this is where sometimes adding screenshots to give Claude Code context is useful. So in the same place, you don't have to do this, but I think it's helpful just so that Claude or Codex can see exactly what you're looking at. So in the previous video, I showed you a shortcut to set up screenshots. Here I set it as Command E. I will now screenshot this, and then I will Command V. So Command V, first I have to actually open up the app that I installed previously, which is Copycat. Okay, now that that is there, I'll go back and screenshot it again. So these are real issues that I run into, and then I'll Command V. And so then that Mac OS app, instead of doing Control V, which pastes the image, I can use Command V, which is closer to muscle memory. But actually it makes it easier when I'm copying and pasting into Codex. Let's say I do this here and I copy it and paste this into Codex. Actually, I'll do that. But so we set up an alias before where when we're in this folder, we can type in ... which is the same thing as cd ... which is means go back one folder. So now I'm here, and then I'm going to make a folder, and I'm just going to use that using mkdre work. So now I've created a folder, ls to list it. I'll see the personal folder and the work folder. I can click open ... to see that in the Finder. So you can actually create another one, content. And then here I'll do list the folders or the directories here. You'll see that. And then I'll do cd, which is change directory into work. And what's useful about this macOS app, I can just copy and paste that and do it for both Codex and Claude Code at the same time. So now create a Claude project file, but I'm going to change it to be agent file. So depending if you use Claude Code or Codex, you're going to have either Codex agent project file and a Claude project file. So the issue here is you'll have to actually copy and paste this in. The pasted text actually won't work. So it's a real issue that I run into. So if you see this, you'll know what's happening. I'll actually paste the actual values in, and then here now we created a vault. We've enabled the plugin for the kanban board. There's a few other useful ones that people use, but for the purpose of this, I'll just show you how I set up my project management file. See, you'll see here. And then in Obsidian, I'm going to go into settings. Actually, first I'm going to change it to be dark mode, so it's easier on the eyes. And then I'm going to go into file, open vault, and this time I'm going to open a folder as a vault. So just click on work, and then now I have the work one. And then here you can see Codex is still cooking. And then Claude has finished and created a empty kanban, to do, doing, done. So here is the work one, and then you'll see the board here is the personal one. So now what I generally do is, so I'll put the personal one on the left side. This is the Claude one. And then I'll have the Codex one, which is the work one, on the right side. And I essentially use Claude Code or Codex to just manage the work that I want to do. So let's say I tell it, add a task to the to-do to schedule dentist appointment. And then I'll have Codex add a task to the to-do to analyze experiment for A/B test. And so you'll see here, it will add that task there. And then from the Notes app, it'll follow the structure or format that you want it to follow. And then in Obsidian, you can also add a card or move things around manually, and you can move it over as well. So you can do it manually, or you can have the agent do it. I just have the agent do everything. I'll probably make another video of this later on. When I'm talking to Claude Code or Codex, I rarely type anymore. I just use voice to text to just talk out loud, and it pastes into Claude Code or Codex, and then they manage all my tasks. I'll ask it, what's on my to-do list? Can you help me prioritize it? Can you move this to complete? I'll actually have a few boards for my real board where I'll have backlog. I might even have multiple boards within a project. Let's say work one, I'll have a general board, a research board, a implementation board. So you can set it up however you want. But then once you set it up, you don't have to remember anything anymore. You can just add that task using Claude Code or Codex to manage everything. And then with Obsidian, you can actually link it in. So you'll see here, you can link it so that you can really quickly go into it, review it, read it, give Codex and Claude Code more clear tasks of what needs to be implemented. So what I'll end up having is a list of tasks or features that I want to add, and I don't want to do it all at once. I will just put in the backlog, and then when I'm ready to actually implement it, I'll ask it to prioritize it or do some research to figure out how I might want to implement it, and then manage it. And then over time, as I get more, I can actually see what I've implemented, see why I've implemented it, any other details I have on that. So that's just another workflow of how you might be able to project manage with Claude Code or Codex. You can sync this up with your phone as well. It does require some setup if you don't use Obsidian Cloud, which is a subscription, but you can set it up for free without it. So if that's useful or interesting, drop a comment, let me know. I can do another video about that. Otherwise, you can either use Claude Code or Codex, and